Hey guys, so this is DC Marvel.
It's like driving me crazy because it's so disgusting.
Alright. Love you.
Hey guys, so sorry about that. So this is DC Marvel Anime's podcast number 15. Oh man. So we got some stuff to talk about. First things first. I would like to start off with I'd like to start off with hold on, let me see. So I'd like to start off with my name is DC Marvel Anime.
And I'm Spider22.
And so first things first, I want to start off with this, and I think this is like controversial for me and probably for a lot of the fans, which is this fucked up, and I mean fucked up deal. Hold on, give me 1 second. Of sorry about that. About this fucked up situation. And that is this High Republic shit that's been going on. Let me fucking tell you this shit. I'm not.
Let's hear it.
One, I'm not okay with this because this whole thing, it started back, I think last year or so. I don't know. I don't really know when they started to publish this shit. So, about 1 or 2 weeks ago, or no, not about no, sorry, not 1 or 2 weeks ago. Well, that's kind of when sorry, about 1 or 2 months ago. That's what I meant to say. I found out this shit that they decided about. Let me pull up this up. Hold on. Let me pull up this High Republic stuff that's been going on, and this is how I discovered this shit. It's by the YouTube channel called Clownfish TV. Now, apparently, I don't know why, or usually I get a lot of information from Star Wars and all that stuff from Star Wars YouTube channels like Star Force stuff, Star Force One, Star Wars comics, and all that stuff like that. And what really pisses me off is that the huge YouTube channel Star Wars Theory never really talked about it, and I don't know why. Maybe he never really got in. Maybe he never really saw this. But this is who they decided to. So, Clownfish TV. This I kind of discovered them about a few months back. And I've been following them for quite a while now. And let me see if I can find it. Oh, here. So I'm gonna play this video for you. And there's a few other things. Let me see. See if I can find it. Let me find. Let me see. There was also another one where Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson. Here we go. But here, first things first. Let me go ahead and tell you this, or let me go ahead and play this for you.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the High Republic, Star Wars, the High Republic. And we're not going to talk about it for the right reasons, if there are right reasons.
Is there any right reasons to talk about it?
I don't think so. There's a new book out. And while everybody else, all these other news outlets like Slash Film and Screen Rant.
I'm sorry, my favorite was with the piece of art. It's like her arm's dislocated. Her arm's too short. And is that a double detonator? But I can't tell what she's doing.
She's shaking it to see
I don't
if it's
know,
in
but her
good.
arm's too short. Even for short, that's not... Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, art teacher, go ahead.
Just cut arms. Anyway, this new book is out. While other media outlets like Slash Film and Screen Rant are giving us headlines like Star Wars, the High Republic into the Dark brings a terrifying new villain in the galaxy far, far away, and Star Wars, the High Republic's real villains are more dangerous than the Sith. Comic Book Resources gives us Star Wars, the High Republic changes what we know about Jedi sex.
The fuck kind of laugh was that?
Just how she laughs.
That was weird.
Because you know what? Haven't we all just been sitting there one day? You know, you're sitting there and you're trying to, your deep thoughts of the day, and you're sitting there thinking about Jedi sex.
Does Yoda have sex?
You know, we laugh about that. If somebody ever
Oh my god, there's probably fanfic. So we're going to talk about this preoccupation with Star Wars and Nookie, Space Nookie, Wookie Nookie. That's probably on fanfiction.net. Wookie Nookie. Wait, you're looking up whether or not Yoda has sex?
No.
Oh god, no!
I can't show it.
You can't show that. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. We're not showing that screen. We're not showing that screen. She found it funny. So before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants.
Let's go look up Yoda's sex
No!
in images.
No! I don't think I can show that.
No, not you. I'm telling listeners.
Oh.
This is there's one involving a sheep. Another one is with Yoda's sex face.
No! God, no! No!
The sheep.
No! Okay. Please subscribe for pop culture news, rants. Over 174,000 subs. You get this spiel right. We're going to talk about Star Wars and Nookie. If you're not old enough to talk about Wookie Nookie, turn the video off, please. No, don't look up Wookie Nookie.
Go ahead, keep talking.
All right, so this is coming from Claudia Gray. 50 Shades of Claudia Gray. In Claudia Gray's new Star Wars The High Republic novel, Into the Dark, the subject of the Jedi's views on intimacy is given an intriguing new context. What were the comments like? Oh, work at home. Okay.
It involves sex work. Anyway.
Oh my god, starting OnlyFans. The newest Star Wars The High Republic novel, Claudia Gray's Into the Dark, sheds new light on the Jedi in regards to sex. Namely, that they don't need to be completely celibate. They just don't need to feel anything.
Wait. It's supposed to be that you don't be celibate, but you can't have connections. So
Yes.
basically, it's like you can have one night stands the rest of your life.
Yes, as a Jedi, you can unsheath the lightsaber every once in a while, as long as you don't care about who you poked with it, I guess. While discussing the Jedi and the Force
That explains the sheep.
with vessel co-pilot Affie Hollow,
What?
Reef Silas, the Padawan of Jorah Malak. These are terrible names. Explains how the Jedi give up individual attachments in order to focus entirely on greater concerns. So that means No
They put
sex.
this in a book.
This is in a Star Wars book. That means no sex.
Is this what grade level is this novel? This better be one of the
This is a
adult
YA.
novels. This is a YA one.
So yeah. From there, Reef muses whether he should go into his master's explanation about the difference between celibacy of the body and true purity of the heart, but opts not to. This discussion continues later on in the chapter, this time with the vessel pilot Lex Gassi being involved as the characters go back and forth about the difference between love and sex in a Star Wars book.
Right.
Even if it's an adult Star Wars book, there's no fucking in Star Wars. Even Anakin and Padme, that was off camera.
Yeah, we're gonna have multiple conversations
About sex in a Star Wars book. What the hell fanficky
This
fuckery is
you
this?
can find all kinds of these kind of stories, but they're fanfic stories.
So they talk about
Involving sheep.
So they talk about Anakin and how the problem wasn't that he was nailing Padme. The problem was that he felt something for her.
Because you're not allowed to. You're supposed to just sex is supposed to be just sex. You're not supposed to care about it.
That's how we make it work.
That's not true.
That's impossible.
Henry Cavill's great.
You're not attached to him. You're still with me. This is the first time Gray has. Oh my God! This isn't the first time Gray has explored Jedi sex. In her 2019 novel Master and Apprentice.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong frame of mind right now for this. Anyway,
We're introduced to Rail Averos, another
someone got railed.
Rail Averos.
Where are a couple of these names?
Rail ass. And another one of the former Jedi Master Dooku's proteges who was trained by the eventual Sith Lord before Qui-Gon Jinn. In that book, it's made clear that Real has sex but doesn't form personal attachments, thus skirting the Jedi code.
So wait, so if long as you don't like it,
As long as you don't like it,
you're good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the stories about the Amish people around here.
Do you want to tell people the stories about the Amish people?
Apparently.
Allegedly. Are they going to watch this? Do they
I don't
watch
know.
YouTube?
This is what, okay. So, allegedly, apparently, it could, in the areas, or in PA, New York, and other places, that they were having some issues with a lot of, congenital born issues for kids that, were because of inbreeding. So, they had the bright idea that they needed to bring in some outsiders to make sure that they were the ones that you made sure the babies continued for the Amish. And the
New breeding stock.
The story was, now I can't confirm any of this, it's just an interesting story. The story was that apparently the husband would sit in the room while you did it. It wasn't like an artificial thing. No, you had to go in there and do that. And
Because that's technology.
right. And if you looked like you liked it, they'd hit you with a stick or something. They'd hit you with something because you weren't allowed to look like you liked it.
Is that what Yoda does?
Well, he definitely
He
does
gets his
sheep.
stick, he's like, too much
his,
fun.
That's what
You're having.
That's what his stick is. So, I mean, I don't know if I should have shared that or not, but it was a story going around
This
here
video's
like
getting
a while
demonetized.
ago. I don't even know if it's true, but that's what I was reminded of. It has absolutely nothing to do with this.
Well, Comic Book Resources is preoccupied with Star Wars sex.
They're yes, very much so. The sex gets clicks.
Sex gets clicks. So yeah, Luke and Mara Jade totally did it. Well, or did they? There weren't any kids that I'm aware of.
Well, they were married,
Yeah, well,
but they just can't actually like each other.
that's right.
I mean, that's why it works, because she wanted to kill him for the longest time.
That's true. Like, yeah, she just wanted to get, like, her galactic
I'm just
green card or something.
You're not allowed to have sex because you're allowed to have sex, but only if you don't feel anything and have no connection. And I'm like, I don't know. For me, I just can't see doing that without having a connection. But Wait, you didn't see that before?
Yoda may have been high during the Skywalker saga.
Oh, you never saw that? They're talking about his
stick?
glimmer stick.
His stick that
Yes.
he smacks you with if you're having too much fun?
It keeps him high. Anyway, back to the point. But all these articles keep... You remember this gem from a couple years ago? We did a video on this. The 10 horniest things in Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Yeah, because this is a really hot movie.
It's so hot.
So hot. It's such a hot movie. Now, this isn't Comic Book Resources, but everybody is preoccupied with sex in Star Wars. We got this one. Why Anakin Skywalker should have been removed from the Jedi Order for sexual harassment.
Well, I gotta tell you, he was creepy. I mean, some of the things he did, I'd be like, I'd be calling my friends like, hey, can you walk me to my car? Because some of the stuff he did was a little bit,
I just murdered a bunch of children, but I am so hot for you right now.
Yeah, it's like, you look so good there, Padme. And it's like, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, she's even like, I just can't help it, but God, I know I'm gonna burn my life down. I don't care anymore. Whatever. Since we're gonna die anyway, I don't care.
By the way, you can learn how to make DIY cleaning wipes for when you're done.
There you go. The Jedi Council's inability to remove a toxic, misogynistic predator from their ranks ultimately brings about their doom.
I think they're taking a little far there with the way. I mean, it's a little creepy sometimes, but I wouldn't say he's a toxic, misogynistic predator.
This was a couple of years ago. This is from USA Today. In anticipation of The Last Jedi, like many others, I've been rewatching the series. To my horror, while viewing Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, I realized Anakin Skywalker was a sexual predator in the workplace.
In the workplace. Yeah, he did get a little... I'm not gonna lie. As a woman, I watched it not that long ago, and I was like, wow, he was a little creepy, wasn't he?
Episode 2 especially. He was like,
ugh.
Sand gets everywhere, especially if your head's cut off and your body's in a ditch.
What that have to do with...
I don't know. Anyway,
okay.
This one's great too. This is the best one. This is the best. I saved the best one for last.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm sorry, that was really loud. I apologize.
Yes, the Jedi that fucked. That should have been.
They not even made that their title.
That should have been an episode title. Episode 9. The Jedi that fucked.
They probably got a lot more views.
They would have. That probably is episode 10 or triple X. Yes.
10 or 30.
Yeah, so Gizmodo / IO9, before it got absorbed into Gizmodo, put out this.
That's one of the reasons it got absorbed.
These are all the Jedi that fucked. Yes. Yes. So we know they can. They just don't have to like it or like the person they're with. But they can do the deed for purely biological reasons, I guess.
Well, why can't you just do it yourself then? I'm just saying.
Oh my God!
I'm waiting. Any problem?
I'm waiting for that one. Did the Jedi spank it? Are they allowed to?
I'm just like, wouldn't that make more sense? I'm sitting here, literally sitting here for a second, thinking to myself, why am I sitting here doing a video talking about this, and is this my actual life? It actually went through my head. Because I'm like, we're literally doing a video about this because these places keep making these articles, and apparently they made a whole book, and in the book they talk about it quite a bit.
Yeah, they have a whole conversation about sex in Star Wars. That is not a thing.
Yeah, that's what's wrong with her arm.
She isn't good enough?
She's squeezing that detonator or whatever quite a bit, so...
Is that why... See, this is why the Jedi don't self-stimulate, because your arm, it gets all bent like that, and you can't unbend it.
I just...
I don't know.
Well, on the plus side, here's the thing. If you could use the Force, I'm sure there could be some things that you could use that for that would probably, be the reason why people might want to sleep with Jedi.
Well, you saw what this boy did with a pear. Just imagine the possibilities. Anyway. I think we're going to wrap this one up. I have nothing else to add.
Hey, they have all these articles putting this stuff out there to get attention. So we thought we should just do the same and make a video, right? Is that what your thinking was? I came into this.
It would be funny.
He pulled these videos out and said we're doing videos, and this is what he chose. So I take no responsibility in this one at all. However, go look up the Yoda thing.
Yeah.
You heard of men who stare at goats? Well, there's Yoda.
Gotta wrap this up. Talk later.
Bye.
So then, just like 3 weeks ago, this comes up, and this is what really pissed me the fuck off.
And instead,
cancel the hate mob on Twitter. Just cancel Twitter.
So let's cancel the fans, cancel Cara Dune, cancel Ahsoka Tano, and instead give people this wonderful version.
It's a young adult book for 12 to 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Of Star Wars porn.
This is
It's not even that bad, though, honestly. But it's still, why is it in a young adult book?
Why are they talking about sex at all in Star Wars? Star Wars, all of the nookie happens off screen.
Because they're trying to lead people into a path of we're going to turn it into sex, but only certain types, because not the outdated, archaic look at sex now. The ones that identify like us.
Oh, okay.
I want to bet. Want to bet? I would never have said that 2 years ago because I thought that was I mocked people who said that. And I was like, that's just rude. And I've seen enough now that I'm like, that's why else would you need to put it in a young adult, 12 to 14-year-old book?
So, yeah, this is a young adult Star Wars book, right? We've already talked about Geode the Magic Rock. Well, Geode is awfully interested in sex. Geode tried to explain the Jedi to him. How are you supposed to prove love to the galaxy at large if you don't know how to love any one individual person? Affy, I guess her name is, shrugged as she double-checked their readings. The wavering blue light of hyperspace glinted off of every bit of metal in the cockpit, making it look beautifully electrified. Glinted off of the cock. Even Geode sparkled slightly, like a vampire. She said, God, this sounds dirty. She said, you don't have to have sex with someone to love them. You should know that if anyone does. Indeed I do, said the Rock. But other beings seem to value copulation as a form of bonding. Leox made a face and swore, not appropriate, sorry.
I'm with Leox on this one.
He meant well, she knew, but Affy hated it when he treated her like a kid instead of as an equal. Fortunately, he didn't do that much. It's okay. I think I heard of sex once already.
This is a book for 12 to 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Hi, is this the Sexy Rock fan club?
Squeaking has thoughts.
Hi.
Hi.
Is this who this is?
No, it's not
God.
actually.
I just want a boulder to frack me silly.
Did you just say that? How old are you, son? You don't say things like...
Old enough to know the boulder's what I need and the boulder's what I want.
Any other thoughts on this lovely...
Well, ignoring the subject matter, it's written horribly. I mean, it's okay. I think I heard of sex once already is probably the worst line of dialogue I've ever heard, and I've read All Your Base Belong to Us. It's such a weird, out-of-place thing to have there. Like, even ignoring, like, what they're talking about. It's a Star Wars book. And why does she have to make the Rock sexy? She said that he was glowing like a vampire in Twilight.
It glinted off of him because that's hot.
The better question is...
Sweating.
Sweaty stones. The better question is, why does the Rock know? You forget everything else. Forget this whole universe they're establishing here. I want to know. Why does the Rock know? How does the Rock reproduce?
I don't know. They said, but you should know. They're basically like, you should know as well as anyone. You don't have to have sex with somebody, meaning that they're asexual. Because some people identify as asexual. That's a geo. So their stand-in for asexual people is a Rock.
I identify as a Rock.
So maybe Charlie Brown didn't get such a bad thing when he thought he got a Rock. Maybe that was
Lucy, I'm taking this rock home to polish it my special way.
It's like, maybe it was an invitation from Geode.
Oh my God. The little
Whoa,
redhead
we have to
girl
cancel him now? We have to cancel him now?
Like, he's a little white kid with the blonde
No,
white kid.
because they're putting rocks in kids' bags.
Remember when we were younger, what a rock meant was like drugs.
I just remember rocks meaning rocks.
Just like,
Where did you grow up again? Yeah, I don't know, guys. This is Disney Star Wars right here. Sex and rocks.
But that's okay. But they might have to cancel Rosario Dawson because one person said she did something, all the charges were dropped, and Twitter won't let it go.
Well, hey, you better watch out for their next High Republic book. It is a 90-page erotica about Luke and the Space Cow.
We laugh. Someone probably has fanfic out there somewhere.
It's called Blue Milk Broken Hearts. Coming to a Barnes & Noble near you in that red light section they won't let you near.
There you go.
The back
Thanks
room.
for enlightening us.
All right, we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Yeah. So, like, that's been my whole problem with this. And this is what really pissed me the fuck off. And it's really upsetting. And it's not right. That you would put this Lucasfilm, Disney, whatever the fuck, you whoever the fuck is writing this shit, you're really putting this shit in for a fucking 12-year-old to 14-year-olds? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on in the writers department over there?
A lot of crazy stuff, I'm guessing.
This shit was never, ever part of the old EU, which is Legends. It was never, ever, ever part of that. And this is what pissed me the fuck off. Not only did you fuck up Last Jedi, you fucked that shit up. You fucked up Rise of Skywalker. Fuck that shit. I mean, it had some redeeming qualities, but most of it was shit for brains. Now,
Don't forget Last Jedi.
Yeah. You completely fucked up Last Jedi. You completely fucked with Rise of Skywalker. You had a redeeming quality with Mandalorian, and I'll get to that soon. I'll get to that pretty soon, because you'll know what I'll talk about that in about 5 to 10 minutes. But this shit right here with them, oh, here, we're gonna go ahead and make a whole new this whole new universe, or this whole new timeline, or not timeline, but like a whole new part of the Star Wars universe, where this is set between, I think it's like 500 to 300 years before the Phantom Menace. Oh, and not to mention, we're gonna have Jedi sex. We're gonna talk about sexual stuff. Like, what the fuck is going on there? Like, what the fuck? That's what really fucking pisses me the fuck off, because you're prepping this shit for 12-year-olds to 14-year-olds, and that's not right. Because for example, let's say that I have a kid, okay? No, hold on. Give me 5 minutes, or no, not 5 minutes. Give me a couple minutes.
All right.
I'll be right back. Go ahead and talk about it. I'll be right back.
All right. But yeah, some days I wonder what Star Wars is coming to with all this weird stuff they're trying to introduce and trying to bring into the franchise. Seems like it's being invaded by people who don't know the material. And nowadays, just don't know what the franchise is coming to. Pretty sure George Lucas would not like what he's seen. I mean, he probably likes The Mandalorian. And probably likes Baby Yoda for Grogu. But yeah, he'd be disappointed by what they're doing. He would. Just feel like they need to get on a better path with Star Wars, in my opinion. Because they're messing up. They are messing up big time. Big time, if you ask me. But I am looking forward to seeing the Bad Batch and the Ahsoka series. Those are some things I'm looking forward to in the franchise, as well as Book of Boba Fett. It's another thing. Like, I feel like Disney has been doing a good job with their series. I feel like that's what they're excelling at. In my opinion.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Alright. And he's back.
Sorry about that. So yeah, like I said, so for example, for me, if sorry, for me, this is like if I had a kid, okay. I'm not saying that I do have a kid, but let's say that I have a kid, for example, okay, and saying, "Oh, here you go," and this whole new line of books just came out, okay, and so obviously, me not knowing what this whole thing is, so I pick up this book for him, and then. Or him or her for my kid, okay? So then they go ahead and say, "Oh, hey, Daddy, what exactly is this?" So, what the fuck? Or, they would say, "What is this? What does this mean? What does sex mean?" I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, wait, excuse me? and and they're about 10 to 14-year-olds, okay? So I'm like, let me read that real fast. Let me read that for you. Oh, to me, that's a big no-no. That's a big fucking no-no. So, I am disappointed. Overall, I am fucking disappointed with Lucasfilm, Disney, for putting this shit out. And it's not right. And it's disgusting.
Yeah, they need to be focusing on other things.
Yeah. So, moving on. They want to... So, moving on to this other thing. Like I said, sorry. Let me go ahead and get this little interview up and running. So, back in, I think it was February. Gina. So I want to talk about the Gina Carono situation.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Before I go into it, okay. One, I've said this before. My podcast is not a political podcast. It never has been, and it never will be. But this situation goes into political. But the reason why is because she's only speaking her mind, and it's actually the truth. So, before I play the video, the whole thing with this is because she actually finds out that she got fired not by her agent, not by Disney, but the social media.
Yeah, I was sad.
That pisses me the fuck off because, they don't console to her about that. They don't console or whatever. They don't tell her flat out to her face or anything like that. No, she just completely gets like thrown to the curb, get thrown to the trash, like that. And she finds out this way because of what I'm about to play. So I'm gonna play this whole hour. Okay, it's an hour-long video, but to me, it is not right for her to find out that she got fired through social media. It is not right for them to, okay, here you go, just one day, here you go, and you're fired, you just one day I'm gonna play it.
What's going on, everybody? This is Matt, aka the Lumberjack.
Sorry. Give me 1 second real fast. Hold on. Really fast.
Alright. But yeah, they made a bad decision firing Gina Carano, in my opinion. It was a stupid one. She didn't do anything wrong.
Here we go. And like I said before, you know, this is not because. Oh, I'm not I'm not showing you this. I'm not telling you this. I'm not telling you, when I'm playing this video, I'm not telling you I'm this political party or I'm that political party. I'm just telling you straight up the truth. I'm telling you what happened, and that's all. So, here you go.
Back landlord, hey, real quick, not trying to sign anything, but
I fought in the ring, and I do have hot blood, but it's usually hot blood when it deals with people being bullied. I don't have a problem with power. I have a huge problem with abuse of power.
She's blinking her eyes and in trouble. That's carono. She got hit right in the nose, folks.
Trained in Muay Thai and with an impressive 7-1 record in mixed martial arts competition, Gina Carono is seen as the face of women's MMA, paving the way for fighters like Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. In 2009, she left professional fighting, but the reputation she carved out led to Hollywood action stardom. From her front and center role in the knockdown, drag-out thriller Haywire, the superhuman with incredible strength and invincibility in Deadpool, and most notably as crowd favorite Cara Dune in the hit Disney Plus show The Mandalorian. Gina also happens to be a conservative. She sure isn't shy about it either. Having been very vocal in 2020 on masking mandates, voter fraud, Black Lives Matter, and a particular note right now, the silencing and outrage for those with different view, there was heat from the Twitter mob, repeatedly, often using the hashtag #FireGinaCarano. The hashtag swung back around last week. This time, Disney did just that. Gina has since been fired by Lucasfilm, which is owned by Disney, and has been removed from their flagship show, The Mandalorian. Their statement reads, quote, "Where social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable." She was dropped by UTA, the talent agency director. She joins us today to unpack this unbelievable move and Hollywood's hypocrisy. We discuss how things escalated to this, if you should be canceling your Disney Plus account, which trended to the top of Twitter when the news of the firing broke, and whether or not this is the story that will finally break cancel culture's grip on American society.
No, I get it.
Hey, and welcome. This is the Ben Shapiro Show Sunday special.
Give me 1 minute real fast.
All right.
Sorry.
The show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. If you don't like big tech and the government spying on you, you should check out my friends at expressvpn.com/Ben. Quick reminder, we'll be doing some bonus questions at the end with Gina. The only way to get access to that part of the conversation is to become a member. Head on over to dailywire.com, become a member. You'll have access to all of the full conversations with every one of our awesome guests. Gina Carono, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you. I'm not just stopping by. I'm like...
You're part of the thing now.
I'm coming in for the hugs.
So why don't we start with, the actual topic of the day, which is what exactly happened. You said before that you felt like you were sort of on thin ice with Disney Plus and Lucasfilm for a while. What gave you that first indicator? First of all, why don't we start from the very beginning? How did you get cast in the show The Mandalorian to begin with?
So I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking, I really have to take this more seriously. I have to take acting more seriously. I have to really I have to give it my all. Because if I don't take myself seriously as an actor, then who else is going to? And as soon as I said that, 5 minutes later, my agent at the time called me and said, Jon Favreau wants to meet with you. I was like, yes, absolutely. And they were like, we don't know what it's about. And so we set up a meeting, and Jon Favreau took me through. He's like, you don't know why you're here? And I'm like, no, but here's a bottle of wine, and I'm a big fan. And he took me through all of the concept art, and he's like, well, we're here to cast you as a part in our new Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian.
And how quickly was it apparent to you that politics was going to be a problem, either in the production of the show or on the set or in any way?
The interesting thing I think about this whole political thing in me is I'm not like you. I've never been really interested in politics. And then as soon as I started seeing what was happening, I guess in 2020, I started looking up like, well, maybe the adults don't have it under control. And maybe I'm an adult now, and maybe I have a responsibility to pay attention. And I guess when we first started having problems was it had to have been on the pronoun usage. I think was the first problem. Maybe before that. Well, because I was really upset about the shutdowns. I know what it's like to be working and then not to work, and then I know the depression that comes with not working, because my job has been on and off its entire life. You got a job and then you sit out a year, and you got a job and you sit out, and not having a job and not having purposes, it's devastating. You go through depression. It's not consistent. Mm-hmm. And I think I do good with consistency.
Can you take us through sort of the controversy over the transgender pronoun? Because that was the first time you started really trending on Twitter for politics.
I ended up putting beep bop boop in my Twitter bio, and 100%. It was 100% to go to the Twitter mob that was telling you what to do, and it had zero to do with trying to go after the transgender community, because I would never do that. I'm just me personally. I'm not trying to target anybody or go out after anybody. And so as soon as I saw people started taking that wrong, I put right after that. I was like, no, beep bop boop was like me just saying. I literally said to my friend, I was like, let's put something in my bio just to show I can put whatever I want in my bio, just like they put whatever they want in their bio, like Trash Panda and all this stuff, and so I just put these noises in my bio, and then there was this crazy meltdown. It was just a big, massive meltdown, and all of the fear and all of the stuff goes straight through your skin, and it starts like, whoa, what is happening? Well, I told you I didn't mean this towards this community, and you're misunderstanding it. And it was just a shock wave went through my body. So I was like, oh, this is what this feels like. This is uncomfortable.
So Disney came to you and presumably Lucasfilm and asked you to put out some sort of apology, or how did they deal with that?
I had a publicist at the time, and they said, you have to put out an apology. This is messed up. This is awful. And I was like,
my dog thinks I'm a genius.
I hate those ads.
Okay. I did say right after that tweet, I clarified for everybody, this was not directed towards the transgender community in any way. And And I've also been watching celebrities apologize left and right, and it's very ingenuine. And I said, can you just give me a moment, because I'm kind of feeling emotional right now, and can I just do my own research, and so, they were like, okay, yeah, do your research, but you need to get on the phone tomorrow with our LGBTQ transgender section. And I was like, I'm feeling very emotional. Can you give me a second? And they said, no, you need to do this now. And so I did. I was like, okay, we have to do it now. Then let's do it now. And so I watched their documentary, and I got on the phone with them. And they basically were, just two very gentle people. And they were like, we're sorry, like, you stepped in what they call a landmine. And we can tell, you're not cured against us. And they actually reported back to Disney and Lucasfilm, they thought it would be a bad idea if they canceled me, or if they let this affect anything, because I got on the phone with them and I said, hey, I got on Zoom with them and I explained, hey, I just, I don't have any hate in my heart for anyone. I stepped in the limelight.
And after that, you said before that the Disney Lucasfilm folks said that you weren't basically to do any press after that for The Mandalorian.
Yeah, so we went through this really long thing where it was like back and forth. They wanted me to say this. I felt like it was ingenuine. I wrote out like this massive thing that said, I have it, and everything that I read through it, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I put out this statement now, it'd actually be very enlightening to how I was feeling a year ago. But they didn't want that. They didn't want that. I think, they thought, I was already taking too much attention off of The Mandalorian, which it was not my intention, because I know how hard everybody works on it. Because we got down to this like statement within like 2 words. Like almost like 2 words, this ridiculous thing. And they were like, and they just said it was not apologetic enough. And I was like, it was shocking. Like, I want to communicate. They wanted me to get, and all of these Lucasfilm employees are railing me on their websites. One of them, a creative director, had a GoFundMe, and in the GoFundMe bio, it was like, this is because our ignorant actress, and, and like, it was like, so they wanted me to get on the phone with like 40 of their LGBTQ community, not on the phone, on Zoom. And I felt like, you're all these people, all your employees are slandering the hell out of me right now. You think I want to get on a video where they can then film it, and I felt very kind of insecure about that. So what I offered them was, the restaurants at the time had, started opening back up. And I was like, let me take, 4 or 5 of them out to dinner, and it'd be a person to person. You can look me in my eyes, I can look you in your eyes, and let's have a genuine conversation. And I think it's also a bit abusive that you want me to talk to 40 people and hear 40 people, like, I just that have been slandering, like, and maybe not all of them have been slandering me, but a lot of them probably had. And it was just like, wait, I don't feel like I've really like deserved this, don't you guys see what's happening online? It's like all these bots. It's not even like faces. It's not real people. It's just, and it feels like, I don't know who these people are. Children or just bots or whoever the hell these people are.
Twitter rage mob.
Yeah, and they're awful. And I actually asked the LGBTQ community leaders for the trans section. It's like, why don't you guys address that? It might be healthier if you address what's happening, the aggressive push. And they didn't really have an answer to that.
So in a second, I want to ask you about how that ended up playing out over the subsequent few months, because we're moving through the sort of timeline here. We'll get to that in just 1 second. First, there's never been a more important time to protect your internet activity than like right this moment. This is why I urge you to get ExpressVPN. Everything you search for, watch, click online, it can be tracked by big tech companies that can then match your activity to your true identity using your device's unique IP address. When I switch on ExpressVPN with my computer or phone, My IP address is masked by a secure VPN server. It makes it harder for websites to identify me, which is exactly the point. My data is my business. The ExpressVPN app also encrypts my network data to protect my sensitive information from being compromised. Plus, you can use ExpressVPN on up to 5 devices. CNET, please go to the VPN to get 3 extra months with regard to LGBTQ. To get 3 extra months.
Okay, and let me just explain this real fast. I'm not. We have no endorsement of ExpressVPN. Okay, and this is just for him.
Yeah.
So anyway, here we go.
For free, go to expressvpn.com/Ben right now to learn more. Alrighty, so let's talk about what happened next. So you had this run-in with the higher-ups with regard to LGBTQ issues. That was, essentially solved, but at the same time, they told you not to go on the press junkets, and they didn't want you speaking to the press. And then things, it seems like, were pretty quiet up until about November. And the Hollywood Reporter later came out, and they reported that Disney Plus and Lucasfilm were thinking about a spin-off for The Mandalorian, where you would have a big role. They were going to present that to investors, and they decided that they were essentially going to kill that based on a couple of social media posts that you put up in November, particularly one with regard to voter fraud, and then one with regard to masks. So can you talk a little bit about that? And did they ever convey this to you?
Yeah, so, they actually sent over a media trainer, which I felt like, okay, I'm down, come on over. And she came in and she crossed her arms, she had her glasses on, and she sat in the corner, and she's been very cold. And she's in my house. And I asked her, I'm like, do you think you can take off your glasses so I can look you in your eyes and so we can have a conversation? Because, and she was like, ready to hate me, I think. And then, we went and we then sat down on the couch and we had a lovely conversation. And she said, look, you offered a logical answer to an emotional response. And that's not what they respond to. They're only going to, it only helps if you offer an emotional response to an emotional response. And that's what she told me. And I was like, well, I get that, but why can't you offer a logical answer? That should be your right to. My logical answer was, you guys kind of misinterpreted that. And there also is this massive mob out there that's just bullying people left and right. So I had a great conversation with her, and she left beaming, and I it was a great conversation, and it was not a problem. And then, I don't know, I voted.
and that really is, even according to the sources that have talked to the Hollywood media, essentially what happened is that they were still getting ready to feature you in the Disney shareholder meeting and all of this, and then decided that they were not going to do any of that. And according to people speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, they decided months in advance that they were essentially looking for an excuse to get rid of you. Had they conveyed any of that to you, or how did you find out that they had decided not to bring you on for more at Disney Plus and Lucasfilm?
Like boxers headhunt sometimes and they forget to go to the body. I feel like Disney or Lucasfilm or whoever it is, maybe just certain people in that company, I feel like I've been being headhunted for the last, I don't know how many months. And you can feel it, just a couple weeks ago, Lucasfilm asked an artist that they employ to erase my character and put a different character in place. And, he proudly announces this on Twitter and erases my character and puts, another character in place. And all of the fans of Cara Dune were just outraged. They're like, why didn't you just add the character? Why did you have to take off the character? Is there something wrong? Is Gina getting fired? I've been through so much, and I've seen so much now, clearly, of the bullying that's been taking place. And I saw it before. It's not I'm not the only one that's ever been bullied by this company. And I know that so deeply that I could share a story and it would turn things around in the media, but I can't do that because it would be selling out. A friend that I don't really have the same views as, but I'm not gonna, sell out somebody to take the attention off me. So when if that person said something about how hard I went to bat for that person, it would change things. But everybody's afraid of losing their job.
So they announced publicly that you're not coming back after this post that you put on social media, and we'll get to the contents of the post in just a second. Did they ever come to you and ask for an apology? Did they ever come to you and coordinate with you in any way, or did you just essentially pick up a newspaper one day and you read that you were no longer on the show?
I looked on the internet, and you check your Twitter, and I'm trending, and the Fire Gina Carano hashtag worked.
So Disney never contacted you and asked for some sort of back down or some sort of explanation. It was just, you're done, and you find out essentially the same way everybody else did?
Well, yeah. I mean, I saw somebody from the company accidentally sent me a conversation of that they were tracking the Fire Gina Carano hashtag on content that had nothing to do with me. It was actually, had zero to do with me. And then all of a sudden, I always get thrown in the mix. Okay, so this is trending, but let's put her in there, Fire Gina Carano. And they accidentally sent me an email, which was very enlightening. So I knew they were paying attention. I know that there are some people that went to bat for me, but I know that they didn't really win out in the end.
So let's talk about some of the controversial social media posts, because I think it's good for you to be able to explain exactly what you meant by this stuff, since people have deliberately misinterpreted nearly everything. Yeah. So there are a few of them. There was the one right after the election in which you essentially said something that I think virtually all conservatives believe, which is if you want to stop voter fraud, you need a voter ID. We need to tighten up the voter procedures. For some reason, people found this very controversial.
Right.
So that one seems fairly self-explanatory to me.
Yeah, well, it was this is not something I say with pride, but it was my first time voting. I have never voted before. And I know I'm late to the game here, but I never really thought that it counted. And politicians had never really turned me on. And so I don't pay attention to things that don't really turn me on. I pay my taxes, and I pay a lot of taxes. And so I just figure, okay, I'm doing my duty, and I'm just going to keep on fighting. What I've been trying to do is just get my career going and keep on plugging through to where I can get, this bigger opportunity. The mail-in thing, we got an extra mail-in. Everybody I talked to got an extra mail-in ballot. And so I'm like, okay, so this is my first time voting. I'm going to go in and I'm going to take this and I'm going to do my part so that way I can actually talk about it. Because everybody says, you can't talk about it unless you vote. And so I agreed with them. So I never talked about it. And then when I went in, I was ready with my ID, and I've got and they just asked my name and they asked my address. And I don't even remember if there was a signature required or not. And we have masks over our face. And I'm ready with my ID to vote because that's what, and they were like, no, you're fine, just go. And I was like, what? You're not going to check this? This is an important thing that I'm trying to do right now. I'm actually, I want this to count. And so that was very confusing for me. And so when the election, happened and everything was, I was just like, wait, why? I feel like there's a lot of outrage about this, and I think this is confusing to me as a newcomer into this. And so I just thought, well, the experience I went through was there was no ID, there was no cameras. It was on the beach, actually. It was in this little hut on the beach, and it was very,
Hey, I'm Dave. I've been using Lucy Chewing Park for about a year. I use nicotine to level my...
I thought that this could be a positive thing, and we should probably jump on this now if this would ever be a future, because people in 2016 were talking about it. So it's not something that nobody was ever talking about. And so I was like, well, let's get to the point as a nation where we don't have to really question this anymore, because I think that's a really dangerous thing. And I wanted this all to end. And I wanted it to be okay, this is your new president, or this is the remaining president, and let's get past it and join and go. And it didn't stop at, it didn't stop from there. And I wanted everything to stop from there. And so that's why I put out that post.
So as I say, that one was, to my eyes, very uncontroversial. Then you put up one that, again, was fairly commonplace thought in conservative circles. You put up a meme about taking the mask off your eyes so you can see what's really going on.
Right, yeah.
And the way I interpreted that, and virtually every other conservative I know, was all you were saying is that a lot of the stuff that's been presented about COVID has been exaggerated or not based on science or based on politics.
And just bouncing around. It's just been bouncing back and forth. And it's like masks are bad. Okay, now masks are good. And now, it's just been like all over the place. So since we're sitting there like, wait, what is going on? Just confusion. So with that one though, I live in California, and I've seen the hypocrisy that's been happening. They're going to the French Laundry and they don't have masks on, and there's just been so much hypocrisy. And they have those like little edited videos where you can see the Democrat leaders just like completely the hypocrite. Like, it was like, I just always laugh. I'm like, this is like hypocrisy 2020. And so I just like put that out because I thought that was like a good way to convey that we need to start paying attention to the hypocrisy. So for me, it was just like open your eyes.
So those two, again, were really, to my eyes, for conservatives particularly, very uncontroversial. Then we got to the one that they decided was worthwhile getting rid of you over. We'll get to the social media post that had to do with the Holocaust in just 1 second. First, let's talk about your sleep quality. You may have noticed that sometimes I look super tired because I have 3 children. And you may have noticed that Gina Carono type in sleep preference. They have several from so many to a mattress store at /Ben. Take their. The answer, of course, is nothing. Mattress orders and world down around. Mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Ben. That's helixsleep.com/Ben for the special deal. Go check them out. Let's talk about the social media post that brought the world down around your ears. This is a social media post in which essentially you were making the argument that bad things, that the way you treat your neighbor can slide over into actual oppression of your neighbor. So there's a picture of a woman, a Jewish woman in the Holocaust running away from Germans, and the caption essentially made the argument that Nazis didn't start by killing people and common Germans didn't start by going along with the Holocaust. This all started by people dehumanizing people who live next door to them. Mm-hmm. And the reaction to this was that somehow you were attempting to downplay the Holocaust, or that you were comparing Republicans to Holocaust victims, or something like that. I wanted to give you a chance to sort of explain what you were thinking and what you meant by that.
I am so inspired by like the gentle spirit of the Jewish people going through that time. And, you watch I think I watched this older Holocaust survivor, her court case, and they found this old Nazi man, and he was old, and they rolled him in on a stretcher, and they really played this up, and she forgave him. She forgave him in court after putting her through what he did, and she faced him, and I'm always so inspired by these stories, and I always wondered how did that happen? You know what I mean? So when I posted that, it wasn't something that I felt like was controversial. It was something that I thought, well, maybe all of us need to ask ourselves how that happened, because it's important. The post never said anything about Republicans or conservatives. It doesn't say anything about that in there. It was more about people tearing each other apart. And I thought it would be more of a thing where you bring people together. I was like, oh, this is bring people together. But now after hearing so much, and I'm actually grown through the experience of just knowing that, that's it's not fair to the Jewish community to just throw this out here so much, when you say the word Nazi and when you call someone a Nazi, and you need to have a little bit more respect on it. And so I understand that, but it was no way my intention. I've got every single big publication saying, just comparing conservatives and Republicans to this. And that's not really what I was doing. I was saying we as a people, because I still am very fresh to this political, spectrum. I mean, I have love for everyone. I'm not a hateful person. In fact, I go out of my way, and I have gone out of my way my entire life not to be a hateful person. I mean, yeah, I fought in the ring, and I do have hot blood, but it's usually hot blood when it deals with people being bullied. And when I saw people being bullied that were silenced and scared to speak, I don't want to speak. I want to create art, you know. But I have a big problem with bullies, and I have a big problem with, you know, I don't have a problem with power. I have a huge problem with abuse of power.
Well, I mean, it was fair. It was obvious to everybody, and I said this to you when we first spoke, that it was obvious that this had nothing to do with anti-Semitism. The post obviously was not anti-Semitic. You'd have to completely twist the post backwards in order to get to the idea that it was anti-Semitic, since it was specifically decrying the treatment of Jews. It was saying what happened to Jews was evil, and this should never happen again, and that's why you should be careful about how you treat your neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, the Jewish community is, I think, properly very sensitive about Holocaust comparisons, and so you know, I myself on my show said that we have to be careful about when we invoke the Holocaust. But here's the thing: Disney Plus and Lucasfilm don't care how you invoke the Holocaust if you happen to be of a different political persuasion.
No.
And I pointed out on Twitter right away, as soon as this broke, that Pedro Pascal, who was your co-star in The Mandalorian, the lead in that show, that Pedro Pascal had put out a Holocaust meme in 2018 in which he not only got the facts wrong, he actually posted a picture from not the American border in 2018 and called it America 2018. He then compared the treatment of migrant children in 2018 to victims of the Holocaust in 1941, which is absolutely absurd on every level. And of course, Disney Plus and Lucasfilm had no problem with that whatsoever. They never said anything about it. They never responded to the comparison. They never said that it was anti-Jewish or anti-Semitic to make that comparison in any way. There was pretty obviously a double standard at play here.
Oh, and there has been. I mean, they've been all over me, and they've been watching me like a hawk. And I'm watching, you know, other people on the same production, you know, and they can say everything they want. And that's where I had a problem. I had a problem because I wasn't going along with the narrative. And you know what? I adore Pedro. I adore him. I know he said and done some hurtful things. I don't think that posting anybody's number on social media is okay. But I know that, you know, he thinks a lot of the stuff that I post, you know, like, but there's so much love there still, you know? And we had an agreement after we realized we were a little bit politically different. We had an agreement that first and foremost, you're a human being and you're my friend first. And, you know, the two sides that, you know, were trying to like drag us apart because we're both passionate. And, you know, and that's what's been really crazy is like you see these people over here being so passionate. You see people over here being so passionate. And I love that we're just both passionate, you know. And we think a little bit differently, I think, through our different experiences. So I know that, you know, I know that we both have misstepped on our tweets, you know. We're not perfect, we're human beings. But he's not a bad human being. He's a sweet person.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks that any different. I think that the disparate treatment is the part that was kind of shocking.
Yeah.
It's like one meme that invoked the Holocaust to say we shouldn't treat each other badly is fireable, and the other meme that compares Americans, you know, trying to deal with a problem of migrant children at the border to the Holocaust, that is perfectly acceptable to Disney Plus and Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And then you saw the backfilled sort of post-facto explanation, because it became very clear to even a lot of members of sort of the traditional liberal camp that what had just happened to you was wrong. You had people like Jonathan Chait, who's a traditional liberal, saying that this is like McCarthyism. You had people who are traditionally liberal saying that it's a mistake, that it's censorship of a particular point of view, and that it was pretty obvious that you were being silenced and canceled because you were conservative. And so at that point, you saw the left swing into action and start resurfacing old media posts and then declaring those anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
So this is when they resurfaced a December 2020 post that was a meme of essentially a bunch of old men, no distinguishing anti-Semitic features, which we'll discuss in a second, sitting over a Monopoly board. And the meme said something like, and the Monopoly board is sitting on the backs of people who appear to be slaves. And the meme says something like, if they stand up, then if we all stand up, the game is over.
Yeah.
And the implication was made that this was an anti-Semitic meme and that you had known it was an anti-Semitic meme when it was posted. So I want to give you a a chance to explain what you were thinking when you posted that meme. Because just for those who don't know, the history of the meme itself, it was a meme that was posted by allies of Jeremy Corbyn, essentially in Great Britain. The original meme had very Semitic featured people. It was fairly obviously anti-Semitic. It had characters essentially from Der Stürmer, the Nazi newspaper, with the hooked noses and the beady eyes and all this. This version that you posted didn't have any of that. So if you were not very deeply into politics, it's very difficult to imagine that you would even make that connection.
Right. And so usually I like to post think pieces, and what I found is those are what get me into trouble the most, because that's when everybody starts putting their opinion out there. It's like, like the last post, they were like, oh, look what she said, and I was like, why don't you guys do your homework a little better? Like, it doesn't say Republican and conservative in that post, and so when people started saying that the game where everybody would just stand up, I thought that once again, I thought that was something that we could all join in on. And I had obviously no idea that the original one had been, I didn't know who those men were, but then I saw what they were saying, and then I saw the post, and I saw the picture, and they were two different pictures. And so I really didn't know. I'm like, okay, so do I take that down? Like, do I take that down when it's not the same picture, but the origins were? Because the idea in itself is that if we all join together, once again, like my other one, if we all join together and stand up, if you really go through what I'm posting, I post something because I want people to think, and I want to hear what people have to think. And when people are calling me, I've been called so much, like I've been called racist, I've been called transphobe, I've been called homophobe, I've been called now anti-Semitic, and I'm like, I don't take those lightly. Like, you're calling me, my soul, the blood that runs through me, you're calling me that. And I blocked so many people. I'm like, you say that once to me, like, you're done. I don't want to talk to you ever again. I don't want to see you on my feed. That was a lot of blocking. They're like, oh, she's got a blockchain. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it. Like, I'm pissed. Like, you just insulted me and my heart and my soul. Because I honestly do. I've gone out of my way. And I know everybody on the set of Mandalorian or any set I've been on, my actions towards other human beings have spoken for themselves.
No, listen, you've smelled your deodorant. Go smell it again. You're lying to yourself if you think it smells good, because it smells like crap.
And I'm not a perfect human being. I have so much to learn, and I am going to make mistakes. But I know everybody on that set, and I know that even the people that were gunning for me, like, I know that so many people have met me and worked with me. I know that's why we might be seeing, I go out of my way to make sure. I am the one that on sets people come and cry to. I'm the one that sticks up for someone if they're being like, hey, this is enough. This person needs out of this. Like, they can't breathe. And I've always been like that. I've stuck up for, like, minorities everywhere. I've gotten in fist fights, I've been in actual fights growing up in Las Vegas because I cannot stand bullying. And so, I think I just wanted people to think, and I put up something, and people were putting their own perspective and spin on it, and then they put words into my mouth that I never say, and then they start, then it starts trending in all these, these big newspapers and news articles, and you're like, do you know me? Like, get to know me. Like, I told, they're transgender people. I was like, let's talk. I'll look you in your eyes. You're not gonna feel hate. I promise you.
So in a second, I want to ask you about the decision to come work with us, because that's obviously something unique. It's never been done in terms of somebody from Hollywood saying, you know what, I can work over here, and I'm just going to go do that. So let's talk about that in just 1 second. First, we have to talk about life insurance. So here's the deal. It's kind of hard foraying into right now to get started. It's policygenius.com. because when it comes to insurance, it's nice and very important to get it right. So in the middle of this, obviously, we here at Daily Wire had been foraying into the film industry. We had released our first film a little bit earlier this year, Run, Hide, Fight. Our audience really loved it. And when we saw that you were trending, my business partner, Jeremy, and I, we thought, the first thing we thought was, number one, somebody should reach out to Gina because she's getting maligned unfairly. But number two, we should reach out to Gina because this is an opportunity for conservatives and people who think differently to say to Hollywood that you're not allowed to just cancel whomever you want. And I mean, I have to say that I was amazed at how readily you were willing to jump into a project with derelicts like us and willing to get involved in one of our projects because it is a unique thing. I mean, in Hollywood, typically the advice is keep your head down, make an apology. Maybe in 3-4 years, you can sort of wheedle your way back into the industry, but you didn't do any of that. You were basically ready to go from the moment I gave you a call. I wanted to get your perspective on that.
Well, because, you know, in my newfound, you know, finding my political voice, you're actually one of the people I found, as well as a bunch of, your book was the first one I read. And it just really kind of, it was so simple that it really kind of explained like the events in such a, you know, in such a good way to where it was like, it just felt logical. It felt logical. So I'm obviously like so excited that you called. I was prepared to at any point get let go because I've seen this happen to so many people. You know, I've seen the looks on their faces. I've seen the bullying that takes place. They've quit Twitter, you know, they've quit speaking. They show up to their red carpets and they're depressed and they're sad and there's hard parts there. And I was like, you're coming for me. I know you are. They're making it very obvious through their employees that were coming for me. And so I was like, well then I'm gonna go down swinging then, and I'm gonna stay true to myself, and I'm gonna let that speak. And I think that's speaking. So when you called, I'm still like, my body still is shaking. You know, it's still devastating. But the thought of this happening to anybody else, especially like somebody who could not handle this the way I can, no, they don't get to do that. They don't get to make people feel like that. And if I buckle, then little girls and little boys who are not getting they're not getting a good, fair shake at growing up right now. If I buckle, it's going to make it okay for these companies who have a history of lying to be lying and to do this to other people. And they've done it to other people. And I'm not going down without a fight.
Well, we couldn't be more excited to be working with you, obviously. And you can see that the left is creating a whole new cottage industry for us because as they keep canceling people for no good reason, we are perfectly happy to work with talented people of every stripe, especially after the left decides that they are terrible by dint of having differing points of view. So I want to backtrack here a little bit and talk about how you even got into acting in the first place, because you have the most unique acting story that I know of. I mean, you started by hitting people in the face. So why don't we start with that? Like, how did, when people think actress, typically they don't think a person who used to be an MMA fighter. So first, and when they think MMA fighter, they don't tend to think female generally. So you were the first big female MMA star in America. How did you get into MMA? That's sort of a unique career path.
Oh, well, definitely not by my family's approval. My family actually did everything they could to make sure that first sanctioned fight in Las Vegas for a female women's MMA match did not happen. And so I was having to go through all these extra tests, and I found out like who I love so much, my Papa Don, who passed away, and my dad, who's still around, had called the athletic commission, and my dad used to serve on the athletic commission, so they were, so I was going through some extra tests because he did not want me to be a fighter. They wanted me to, really go to school and become a doctor, a lawyer, and my family's the type of family on both sides. You're not getting anything for free. You earn your keep. You're responsible. and you get out there and you work. And so I was like, okay, that's what I'm doing. And I don't like money being hung over my head ever. So this is just something, fighting was just something that spoke to me, you know, like it just made me want to get in the gym. It made me, I was good at it. I've been in fights so many times in Las Vegas anyways. Never that I started. I was always like defending people. It's like, I am able to walk away from a fight, but when I realize it has something to do with somebody else, and I have like, there's this hot blood that goes through me, and then the things happen. But so, yeah, I just started fighting, and I loved it. It's like all of the bad things I was doing and all that. I've had friends shot in the head and left in the desert. I have been stabbed in the head and left in the desert in Las Vegas. You know, overdoses and the whole story of like this tragic thing. And I was like, okay, why don't you just try to give life a chance? And I started training and fighting, and it just became my new addiction. And from the moment I started doing it, everybody was pointing a camera at me. I was like, I'm actually extremely shy. I'm actually like, it's hard for me, you know, performing or talking and having things. But I think I'm getting a little bit better at it.
So I will admit, although you probably couldn't tell, being that I am such an Adonis-like figure and such an amazing Greek god of masculine power, I'm not a person who's done a lot of fighting. As you maybe you might have guessed that. I don't know.
No, you never know.
Yeah, no. Most people picked up on that. In any case, what is it like to be a professional fighter? What is it like? That's always been fascinating to me, because as somebody who, went to Jewish day school, and basically fights consisted of people, randomly wailing on each other without any sort of real form, or let's put it this way: no one from my Jewish day school ended up as a professional fighter. So, what is it like being a professional fighter? What's it like walking into a ring and knowing that you have to beat the hell out of somebody else in order to win?
Well, I think it starts in walking into a gym, and the most beautiful thing about walking into a mixed martial arts gym is it doesn't matter what color you are, what religion you are, if you're a cop or if you're not. It doesn't matter who you are. You get into that gym and you start training together, and it's everybody in that gym. And, you get humbled every single day. And then you learn how to, be a part of a team. And then you start taking care of each other. And then you start seeing, you see all the weaknesses of, the ego flare-ups. And then, so, you really have to balance your ego in an MMA gym. Because if your ego gets ahead of you, that's a weakness. So, I love that. I love genuine and I love real human beings. And so that was a place of everybody in this, everybody belongs here. And the fighting part, that was hard. But there's nothing like facing a fear, and it's very intimate. It's I'm attracted to intimacy as well. So when you look across a ring and you're looking at that person's eyes, this is all about to get very real, and it's only going to be me and you, and there's going to be a genuine interaction. And I crave those kinds of things. That was addicting to me.
Did you have to learn to take a punch? How does that work? As somebody who has full-time security, I will never have to deal with this stuff.
I don't know. I just, since I had been in fights growing up, I have an incredible... I have an incredible chin. I'm my nose. I think it takes. If I bleed, I'm hurting because I'm not a bleeder, and my chin is just good. So I have this special little talent that I have. I hit pretty hard, and I've been very complimented on how hard I can hit. And so I became addicted to it, and I still have a little bit of an addiction to it.
I still do MMA in your...
My whole garage is the whole life. I have so many friends that are fighters, and they're so real. You point a camera at them and it's effortless, because they haven't sold themselves, they haven't sold themselves. They own themselves, and they know that they're going to take themselves into battle against another person, and I like that as well. being a part of Hollywood, you know, people are stabbing you in the back left and right, and people are willing to cut your throat just to get another job. And you're like, whoa, like, I've never been that way. I'm never going to, actually, when I did American Gladiators, we were doing the jousting thing, and I took down this girl, the bigger girl. I took her down, and it was her dream to be American Gladiator, right? Like, she wanted to be an American Gladiator. And, like, I took her down in, like, 2 shots, and, like, you know, then she ran to the bathroom and started crying, and I realized at the moment, I was like, oh my, I'm not going to take this job away from her. Like, we're doing tryouts right now, and I just knocked her off of that. And I'm not really super passionate about being, like, put in spandex anyways, so I was like, you know. And so, like, I kind of just, like, exited, like, the tryouts, and I jumped in my Impala, and I was driving back to Vegas from LA, and the producers were calling me up, and they always, you know, I keep in touch with them sometimes, and they're like, aren't you glad we made you do that? But, like, and I finally picked up, and the producer was like, he's like, Gina, please come back. And I was like, no, man, like, I'm not about to take that job away from that woman. She wants to be there. I don't care if I'm there.
This one's the perfect gift for the friend who's been getting a little too comfortable during quarantine. Maybe your son, a father.
I'm not going to cut. And they're like, what? Helga? No, we love her. And I was like, okay, but I still don't really want to do it. And it took them 4 phone calls in order for me to, like, you know, I showed up the day of filming, and they hadn't even gotten an outfit for me. And I showed up, and, like, they ended up using me for almost everything, like, physical, like the wrestling and the pyramid and everything. Because, you know, just because you got muscles doesn't mean you be so athletic. So it was such a fun job, and I'm glad I did it.
So what is your sort of daily workout regimen like now?
Well, for the last week, it was a little bit of crying in bed. I mean, I do want people to know that, you know, this has not been easy. And I think, you know, I'm a human being. I have so much to learn and grow. And I am deeply understanding. It's like the curtains got pulled. And I'm seeing so much. And so that's been a very large realization. So I do think when this does happen to people, it's like, you know, being canceled might become trendy one day. But don't think that when it happens to you, it's going to be easy, because it's not. It's going to be maybe possibly one of the hardest things that you've ever been through. But I think, you know, each day that goes by, you kind of stand up and you find your legs again, and you stop feeling sorry for yourself, and you show up. You show up to an awesome opportunity with people who want you to sit at their table, you know? I think it was Nina Simone that said something along the lines of, you need to understand when love is no longer being served at the table. So you need to understand when to leave. And, okay, I'm not going to shove myself down anybody's throats. We disagreed. It didn't go well. 2020 was a very emotional year for a lot of people. Okay, I'll get up and find another table, and hopefully invite more people to that table, because I'm about love and real, true diversity.
And what was it like to move from MMA into Hollywood? How did that transition actually happen?
So moving from LA to Hollywood, I had just lost the biggest fight of my life, which that was another time where I was kind of feeling like staying in bed for a week.
There was some controversy around that fight, no? With regard to the person who you were fighting?
Oh, Cyborg? Are you talking about steroids?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's not my job to go pointing the fingers at her. So I take the loss. I'll take it on the chin. I'll take the loss. Because what happened to me the next week was kind of similar to this situation. Like, you showed up when I needed somebody, when I was in just hurt mode. And when I was in hurt mode, Steven Soderbergh showed up. But I didn't know that wasn't the time. And he said, you know, they like, oh, you know, Steven Soderbergh wants to have a conversation with you. And I'm like, who's that? And then we had a beautiful conversation, and he said, okay, well, is this going to happen really quick or not at all? And it happened. And then I found something tricky and new. Because being an athlete, it's like you always have to be yourself out in front of everybody. And I've always been really attracted to art because I think art really does change the world, you know. I love art. I love putting out things where it's like, think about it. And everybody sees it differently. That's my favorite. Everybody feels it differently. And everybody finds different movies and shows and art, and like, they find them at different points in their life, and it's their expression of who they are. I love that. And so here's my opportunity, because I cannot paint for and, you know, like, so I found an art that I dove into. And, yeah, that's not been easy. Sometimes I think, God, it was a little bit easier getting punched in the face. At least you didn't see the knife coming through your back.
So in just a second, I want to ask you about the response that you've gotten to the move to Daily Wire and then what we're doing. And I want to tell you about the response that we've gotten, which has been overwhelming. First, let's talk about your employment situation. How do you get better employees at your company? It can be really tough to find the best candidates. You really shouldn't. A top job. So, whereas you post a job, EST, because personal level, to the announcement that you're EST, because I have a guest, ZipRecruiter.com/Ben Guest. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Ben Guest, and ZipRecruiter, it's the smartest way to hire. Let's talk about the reaction that you've gotten on a personal level to the announcement that you were going to come make a movie with us. I can tell you that the reaction on our end has been spectacular. I mean, our viewers, our listeners, they love it. It's the single biggest thing we've ever done as a company. People are excited about it. People are subscribing. People are pumped about it. And they understand that it is a challenge to the Hollywood system, not just because we're making entertainment, which they're excited about, but because it really is a challenge to the monopoly that Hollywood has, where they get to decide who can work and who cannot, and people are excited to be part of the fight. What's the response that you've been getting?
The response has been basically that's why I think I've been in tears, you know, like this overwhelming people sending me. I mean, when I am at like my lowest, people are like pulling me up in droves, and you know, so many people are like they're contacting me. They're like, you know, Gina, you're so brave. I'm still so afraid. And I just think, oh man, you should be more afraid that you're being made to feel afraid for what you think. That's what should make you feel afraid. Because I got 2 new nieces and 1 on the way. I don't have any children, but that sets in for me, you know. I gotta make this place a better place for these kids. So many people are contacting me in these people's companies. So it's not necessarily, by the way, it's not necessarily like who you think it is. It's people that you might not think it is. And, you know, so don't start going for everybody that might have been supportive for me, because you'd be surprised how many people are into this. The fans and people have rallied behind me and spoken with their voice and made their voice heard. And I feel so stripped in a way of like, like I feel so down, but at the same time I have the biggest fire inside of me, because I feel the need for this, for people. They're drinking it like it's water. They needed somebody to do this. They need somewhere else to go. They're all afraid. And just like, you know, I've been saying, like, you know, it's gonna suck, but you defend one person, you see how they treat you, you understand what people have been going through that are getting canceled, especially people, you know, that maybe probably didn't deserve it, you know. You'll experience it for yourself, and then you'll be a better person for it. Because I have to get to the end of my life, as we all do, and I have to meet my maker. And so when I get there, like, now that's more like, I want to be able, when I show up there, I can be proud of that. So it's, you know, that's my life goal now. And the movement's been insane. I'm busier than ever. I can't even keep up with it, because I lost, you know, half my team. I can't even keep up with the incoming. I mean, there's so much, and I'm trying to like read all the scripts, but like, it's so exciting. I mean, I said it earlier this year that like I want to do my own, you know, project. I have dreams. I want to push it here. I want to produce. I want to, And I was really excited about that. I just didn't think it was going to come like this. I didn't think it was going to really I knew it could be a possibility, but when you think something's a possibility and then it happens, you're like, wow. It's like that.
And it's scary. And it did take courage for you to do that. As I say before, the typical Hollywood movie. And I know so many people in Hollywood, right? I was living in LA until 5 minutes ago. I wrote an entire book on television. I have a lot of friends who work in Hollywood at the highest levels. And when I get together with them, we have a rule, which is that we used to get together at the Coffee Bean on the corner of Coldwater and Ventura Boulevard. And we wore baseball caps and we'd go early on a Sunday morning. Because the idea was that if we were ever spotted publicly together, then these people would be canceled. And they knew this.
You're not a dish. You're a man. Most name brand bars and body washes,
And isn't that insane? Somebody new to the, political world. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm listening to a lot of you guys and and I'm like, you guys were making the most sense to me. That was all. You guys seemed intelligent, well-spoken. You're speaking some truth. You're calling out hard truths. And that's why I was like, okay, that's why I kind of have found myself on this side, I guess. And, but I would go down and, to a barbecue on the beach in California. And all these people are like, hey, we agree with you. It's messed up, isn't it? And I'm like, this is your house. Why are you whispering?
That is certainly the attitude in Hollywood. I mean, it is overwhelming in Hollywood. And the number of people who are in positions of real power in Hollywood who agree with us on politics is not insignificant. And there is a significant number of people in power, but they also understand that their career is on the line and they're deeply afraid that their number is going to get pulled next. And you see it week in and week out. I mean, the same week that they canceled you, they went after Chris Harrison on The Bachelor for the great sin of suggesting that a female contestant ought to be given grace after she went to an Old South costume party 3 years ago. And he ended up being suspended. He made an apology, which you should never do, never apologize to them up. And he ended up being suspended from the show, essentially for the rest of the season. He may never get his job back. This is the thing that people in Hollywood are deeply afraid of. But unlike those people, you actually had the courage to say, okay, well then you don't want me here? Fine, I'll just go do my own thing. Yeah. And that does take a certain amount of stones, frankly. I don't know. That's the way I've lived my life. And I wasn't going to stop now. It's not that I didn't love the job. I felt that what was happening, the silencing that was happening, the fear of having open conversations that was happening, I felt like that was insanely wrong. And I don't want people to be afraid. It hurts me. I don't want to speak. I don't want to talk about it. But I don't want people to be afraid. I think one thing that folks don't understand outside of Hollywood is how many people work on a set. So they think that when it comes to a Hollywood set, it's basically the actors and one camera guy. Right. And that is not correct. I mean, even in shooting this show, we have, a dozen people in the room just to shoot this show. To shoot an actual full-fledged TV show with multiple cameras and all this, you're having hundreds of people on the crew. Yeah. And folks,
the crew and me are always the best.
Well, that's the point that I was going to make is that when they cancel you, you're a top of the line person and you have a lot of name cachet. You're very famous, very popular, and so for us to make a move with you made a lot of sense. But our goal here is to build something that's big enough where if somebody who's below the line gets canceled, that person has a place to go. Because those are the people who, first of all, are disproportionately conservative. A huge number of people who are the actual people who make things go on a set are conservative. Yes. And those are the people who also have the most to lose in a way, because those are the people who, if they get canceled in Hollywood, it's not like they can necessarily walk across the street to a nascent startup and make that happen. Hopefully we can build something where those people don't have to live in fear that one day they might be caught listening to the wrong podcast and get booted off the set and they're just the grip.
Yeah. And I think, if anything, I think there's a fire right now in people's hearts. They're speaking. The people are speaking. They're speaking right now out there. And I think, honestly, Hollywood's shook. I think they're shook. I think they see the hypocrisy. I think they see the double standard. And I read this somewhere. It's like, don't try to ruin my life with lies when your life can be ruined with the truth. And you got $1 billion companies raining down on me from every different place. And do I really even need to say anything? You're showing it. You're showing what you do to people. You're showing you don't give them a voice. You're showing you're not going to listen. You're not going to see a person past, what you read in a very skewed article. You're showing what bullies you are against one voice here. One. I'm not petrifying to these billion-dollar companies. Well, good. I hope I am. And I hope everybody else becomes that. I mean, this is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of one voice. Imagine.
Well, it is again amazing that the same company that has decided that you are too much to work with is thanking the government of China in a province where they are committing genocide against Uyghur Muslims at the end of Mulan. So clearly, they have the double standard is extraordinarily strong with regard to these exact companies. So I want to ask you, Gina Carano, a few more questions, starting with what kind of movie do you want to make here? I mean, we're actually going to have to make a movie at some point. But if you'd like to hear Gina Carano's answers, you have to be a Daily Wire member. Go to dailywire.com, click subscribe, and use the promo code GINA for 25% off. You can hear the rest of our conversation over there. Gina Carano, can't wait to get started working with you. Everybody, make sure to subscribe over at dailywire.com. Stay tuned for updates on our brand new film with Gina. It's only just the beginning of our fight against the leftist narrative in Hollywood. We need your help to take back our culture and cancel the cancelers. Gina, thanks so much for joining the show, and thanks for working with us.
Oh my gosh, thanks for, thank you so much for that phone call. I mean, I needed it, thank you. Thank you so much, I needed it.
The Ben Shapiro Show Sunday Special is produced by Mathis Glover. Executive producer
to me, after hearing that, I could hear her voice, and she sounded so devastated.
Yeah, sad what happened to her.
And like I said, it's not right that she just one day, oh look, I'm on social media and I just noticed that I'm fired for no apparent reason, in a way, but because of my political views. That's the reason why you're firing me? That's the stupidest reason ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so let me go ahead and show you one more video.
Hey, didn't you want to go off on the people who didn't believe in the Snyder Cut?
I'll probably do that in the next episode 16.
All right.
Do that in episode 16.
All right.
But let me go ahead and do this one more deal, which. Let me see. RRK. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So there's two videos that I want to go ahead and put. So one is this is another channel, and it's called, and his channel is RK Outpost. So let me go ahead and let you listen to this.
Alright.
If you're feeling sluggish, bloated around the waist, or even just plain backed up, and you're ready to flush out that extra...
What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and one of the reasons that so many of us were drawn to Gina Carano in the first place was because she stood up for herself. When the cancel culture mob came after her, she did not bend the knee. She did not try to capitulate to them. Instead, she stood her ground and stood up for herself and fought back. And that is exactly what she is doing against this disgusting, defamatory statement by a former U.S. senator. Take a look at this absolute garbage. False, disturbing, and disgusting. Gina Carano slams former Democratic senator for smearing her on national TV. Now, obviously, we talked about this when this first happened. This disgusting former U.S. senator who was on Real Time with Bill Maher, who said some things that are, like, legitimately unbelievable, that someone who should be, we all know we don't actually respect politicians anymore. Politicians are evil, corrupt pieces of shit. But for someone with that level of influence, the things that she said about Gina Carano, calling her a Nazi, calling her a white supremacist, that is what we are dealing with. That is the cancel culture mob that we are dealing with. The dehumanization of people that starts with the far left echo chamber, the weirdos on Twitter, and now is all the way up to someone who literally just 2 years ago was a senator. And again, we have to thank YetiCast for that. Shout out YetiCast. I did shout you out my first video as well. I think I was one of the first to cover this, and this just absolutely blew it the fuck up. But once again, shout out YetiCast. We're going to take another listen to what this disgusting human being said.
And this was 2 weeks ago? Or a week ago? I would say. Literally last week on Monday was when this video came out.
Actress Gina Carano on Monday blasted former Senator Heidi Heitkamp, Democrat, New North Dakota, for accusing her of being a Nazi who hangs with white supremacists. Heitkamp, who lost her Senate seat to Kevin Kramer in 2018, was met with pushback even from liberal HBO host Bill Maher for such an accusation. And we do have to listen to this again because credit to Bill Maher. Bill Maher immediately shot her down. It's like, come on, she is not a Nazi. And then even tried to further go and say, well, listen, we're to the level that we don't know what these things mean anymore. Everyone calls everything. Just listen to the words from Bill Maher.
Like this picture, what was the woman in the Mandalorian? What did she do? She liked something?
She was a Nazi.
Oh, that's different, right? I'm thinking of somebody else. Well, she's not a Nazi.
She's involved.
You're calling her.
She's called other people Nazis.
Right.
Which is the Nazi.
Okay, everyone's a Nazi now.
She does hang with white supremacists.
It's like a Mel Brooks.
Does?
Yeah.
Hangs with white.
I suppose I'm now subject to defamation.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what your definition of white supremacist is. That also, the goalpost there changed a lot.
So this disgusting bitch, this lying bitch, and that is what I'll call her because it's appropriate. She calls her a Nazi, says she's involved with white supremacy after almost stating she is a white supremacist, then backtracking a little bit, then says she hangs with white supremacists. What a disgusting individual. There's literally nothing that Gina Carano has ever done or said that would implicate any of those things. And as this article goes to point out, she was fucking condemning Nazism. That is what she was doing when she got fired by Disney. Disney fired her for condemning Nazism, ironically enough. But I guess that makes sense when you think about who is actually working at Lucasfilm. But of course, Gina Carano was not going to take this lying down. And I looked back and saw the first video I ever made about Gina Carano, and it was when Gina Carano stood up against the cancel culture mob. Instead of sitting there and hiding or apologizing or doing any of these things that we see these typical weirdos do when they fall prey to cancel culture, what did she do? She fucking stood up for herself against the mob. And in doing that, She has now inspired so many different people to do exactly the same. This was a huge moment, because this was somebody that did not bend over, did not bend the knee, and instead stood up for themselves. And that is something to be celebrated. And that's exactly what so many of us have been doing. That is the reason why Gina Carano's popularity has grown so much, because she stood up for herself. She didn't apologize when there was no apology necessary. She's doing the same thing right now against Senator Heidi Heitkamp. Gina Carano, here we have more of the dehumanizing phase of cancel culture. Repeat lies over and over until the population takes them as, quote, truth. False, disturbing, and disgusting language coming from a former U.S. Senator at Heidi Heitkamp. You knew as soon as you said it, you were liable. And that's absolutely true. And I wanted to go to this because you see Nerdrotic here with a reply. Gina, with all due respect, thank you for having the biggest metaphorical balls in showbiz, which includes the sewer that is DC. Lady Greatmaster saying that she does not represent North Dakotans, of course. Alasia Allen says there aren't enough words, nor will there be any images that can set up my disgust. She is despicable, will never abandon you. And I don't know why it didn't just show me all of the replies when I looked down there. There's Lyndon just sharing his video. Robot Head says, make her apologize. A lot of people saying she should sue this bitch. And, I think she should. I don't know if it's really worth her time. It'd be a very long, drawn-out legal battle. But, listen, this person, this disgusting individual, called her a Nazi, implied that she's a white supremacist, says that she hangs with white supremacists. Who the fuck are you talking about, first of all? If you're going to label people that, you better name who they are. But no, this person thinks that they can get away with it. Gina Carano called her ass out. I do not think that Heidi Heitkamp has interacted on Twitter since then. Let's check. She liked anything? Oh, she did like this. So she has been on Twitter. I'm sure that she saw it. So she has been on Twitter. Very interesting, Heidi. I'm not sure where your response is. Maybe you're writing your legal team. I am not sure. What I do know is that Gina Carano fucking destroyed you like we all knew she would. Carono, who is partnering with the Daily Wire to produce and star in an upcoming film exclusively for Daily Wire members, has taken flack for her political opinions, which at times clash with left-wing Hollywood. Carono, whom Heitkamp accused of Nazi sympathies, was reportedly severed from Disney for warning against engaging in Nazi-like behavior and dehumanizing those with different political views. We all know the story surrounding that. Gina Carano, to no surprise, fought back, blasted back, punched back against these disgusting smears from former U.S. Senator Heidi Heitkamp. We just had to talk about it. I know I'm a little bit late on. I was really busy yesterday, but I needed to talk about it because it's important that we highlight these things. It's important that we highlight when people fight back against this disgusting cancel culture, left-wing mob mentality. And Gina Carano is going to continue to do it, which is why so many people are going to continue to support and love her. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.
So, yeah. Just continuing with more of the Gina Carano, and I do like that she stood up for herself for that shit.
Yeah. She fought for what she believed in.
So, again, like I said, I'm not going to tell you my political views. I'm not going to tell you my political views, or I'm this political. Just because I just shared 2 videos on Gina Carano does not make me. I'm not going to tell you, I'm this political view or I'm that political view. No, I'm just specifically saying that I am telling you the truth, what I've heard, and what they've done to her is disrespectful. It is not right. It's immoral. And it's degrading. And I'm upset with Disney. I'm upset with fucking Lucasfilm, and I'll get back to Lucasfilm because there's another video by Ryan or RK Post that's I'll play it in just about 2 minutes, but again, I'm super pissed at. It's like you finally, like, Star Wars finally got back fans. Finally had fans come back because of The Mandalorian. And then, what do? You do this. And that's not right.
Yep.
And not only that, but you do this to a beloved character, which is now a beloved character, played by a great person, but you also going into like I said with the High Republic, Star Wars High Republic deal, which I'm about to get to this next part, which is another Star Wars High Republic deal, and I'll play this video right now. But again, like I said, it was degrading, and I did not like it, and I'm thinking this is, look, I'll still like Star Wars, but I'll like the stuff that's coming from, not from Kathleen Kennedy anymore. I have a huge disrespect for her. I have.
Yeah, same.
But I think
the Disney Plus stuff, the Disney Plus content is great, though.
Yes. And the thing is that she does not know what the fuck is going on. She has no idea what the next thing to do. They're already bringing back, like, they're already trying to, like, oh, remember this Legend stuff? Well, we're gonna go ahead and bring that back and put that back as, like, retro stuff or something like that. Like, really? Because they're so desperate. But yeah, I'm gonna play this next part. I'm gonna play this next video, and again, it's High Republic shit, and I fucking hate this. So here.
Remember us, the two armed Texans? The media wanted.
What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and if you're one of those people out there who still has hope that Star Wars can be saved, you think that it can be restored to what it was before Disney took over, maybe your favorite person at Lucasfilm, who you really think treats the characters well, maybe you think that they're going to topple Kathleen Kennedy, take over and change everything back to the way it was before. I think it's really time to face reality that Star Wars, as you knew it, as you loved it for decades, is dead. And it has been replaced with something nearly unrecognizable. It has been replaced with Disney Star Wars and everything that comes with it. And we got reminded of that yet again today with another hollow, empty virtue signal. Instead of creating stories that people will engage with and love, instead what they're doing is they use diversity and representation as a crutch and create characters literally because of what their skin color is, what their sexuality is, or what gender they identify with. And they force that down your throat with a virtue signal. Take a look at what we got today from Bounding into Comics. Star Wars promotes new The High Republic cover featuring, quote, trans non-binary Jedi twins in support of International Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, I know we've got a lot of different months. I know we got a lot of different days for all these different things. Well, this one was International Transgender Day of Visibility. And you can see from Data Racer out here, he does put out this cover. Star Wars is doubling down on the woke, creating trans non-binary Jedi twins for their new comic books. And here is the cover in all of its glory. These are the two twins. We were actually introduced to these characters in, I think, Star Wars The High Republic #2, when we found out that they don't have he, him pronouns. No, they're they, them. That is who these twins are. They identify as they, them. But it wasn't until today that it was revealed that not only are they non-binary, but they're also transgender. And of course, when you look at this, they didn't put this out on Twitter because they knew what the reaction would be. Instead, they posted it to Facebook, where you're only going to be able to comment if you use your real name. They also put it on Instagram, where it's not as easy to see when things get absolutely ratioed, like it very well may have if they had put it out on Twitter. You can see Data Racer follows up here. They posted this to Facebook, so you have to use your personal account to call them out, and then get doxxed and harassed by radical activists for your, quote, bigotry. And he also includes, right here is the quote from Star Wars, in honor of hashtag Trans Day of Visibility, we're proud to unveil an exclusive cover highlighting Tarek and Seret, trans non-binary Jedi, currently featured in Marvel's The High Republic comic. We support trans lives, and we are passionate and committed to broadening our representation in a galaxy far, far away. That is what this is about. This is about diversity and representation. And when I say that these are empty virtue signals, that Disney and Lucasfilm don't actually fucking care about these things, we have seen it over and over again. They will virtue signal during Black History Month and use Finn to try to say, look at what we've done for black characters in Star Wars. We love black characters. But then when the time comes to promote it in China, they shrink John Boyega on the poster, don't they? They shrink his role in the entire trilogy as a whole to try to get more money. When they put the first gay kiss ever, the first lesbian kiss in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, what do they do in countries where it might be illegal to be gay? They cut that out. Because it's about a virtue signal until it becomes about money. Lucasfilm and Disney do not give a fuck, but what they are doing is they're literally creating these characters like Data Racer shows. This is what we talked about when we found out about the High Republic. People said, oh, you're making a big deal out of a whiteboard. No, we're not. This was the focus from the very beginning. It was never about great stories. It was about diversity and representation. Look at this. Fiction. What's good in fiction? Diversity. What do we want in Star Wars? We want representation and diversity. That's exactly what we are getting. You can go to Facebook and you can see, like I said, they didn't want to put it out. They wanted to put it out places where it would not be ratioed. So they put it out on Facebook, where you can't comment unless you have your name on there, and then they will literally do just that. They will screenshot it, they will have the woke mob put it out there, the echo chamber, to try to get you canceled. But they also put it on Instagram. Now, Instagram, again, like I said, Twitter is very unique in the way that it's set up and how you can get ratioed on Twitter. Instagram is not the same way, but when you go through these comments, it's very revealing to see what everyone is thinking. So they put out exactly what I said before, that same verbiage they used, and they put it out on Instagram. Now you have Juna Sumato, the guy who plays Chewbacca. I believe that's who this is. I believe he's Chewbacca now, the new guy who plays Chewbacca. He says, trans rights are human rights. Welcome to the Star Wars family. That's the top one, a verified account. Let's go through some of the rest, shall we? Oh boy, the comments are going to be a doozy. Yeah, they are. And that actually has more likes than his, ironically. Oh well, better than making a previous character that format like most companies do. Okay, I see that. A lot of people saying happy birthday to the High Ground Master because it's actually Obi-Wan Kenobi's birthday today. In case you forgot, Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. They didn't even do that for him.
For who?
They didn't even... Star Wars didn't even say happy birthday when this when this came out, which was what, the 31st.
They've been missing a lot of birthdays. That's for sure.
I'm fucking.
Maybe you should be focused on that, but instead, it's about diversity and representation. Disney once again proving why Star Wars should have been left with George Lucas. It's Master Obi-Wan's birthday. This person says respect. Congratulations, all Star Wars. Congratulations to you. When does Kenobi come out? A very neutral face there. L. They look awesome, says Star Wars parody. Sus. I'm sure the comments will have mature reaction to the... You knew what was going to happen. Is this a joke? Why? Does the non-binary Jedi have a rainbow lightsaber? Huh? What a joke. It's nice to have representation in Star Wars. It's great the Star Wars universe is a place where everyone feels welcome. I'm happy they did this. Star Wars just isn't fun anymore. L, are we blind to play the birthday wishes? Oh dear, oh dear. So we have a sentient rock and these two. Yep, I'm about done with this series. So you can see that, listen, there's some people in support of it, and listen, if you feel like you need to see this, that you need to see a character who exactly looks like you, talks like you, has your pronouns, all of these things, if you need that to be able to enjoy something, I feel for you, because that must be pretty rough. You must not get any enjoyment out of anything if that's the way you operate. The vast majority of people, all we want is a great story that is told to us in a riveting fashion, a way that makes us connect to these characters. You don't have to be a transgender, non-binary person to identify with a character who's transgender or non-binary, but that is seemingly how they present it. What they have done in doubling down on this and going down this rabbit hole, specifically with the High Republic, you can see the fucking reaction from people. Look at every Star Wars The High Republic video. It gets ratioed to fucking hell. Same thing with This Week in Star Wars, whenever they cover it. Of course, that also has a lot to do with Gina Carano and what they did to her. But of course, you can look at The Bad Batch, the like ratio, and that's pretty good, 93%. Still probably lower than they expected on something that was highly anticipated. I think you're going to see a lot of people kind of forget about the Gina Carano stuff and go back because, oh, we like the Clone Wars. Dave Filoni's going to save Star Wars. You're going to have those people that do go back and embrace The Bad Batch. Don't be fooled by that. Because like I said, Disney Star Wars is Star Wars at this point. We like what we thought we had. The thing that we loved is gone. And it's not coming back as long as Disney is still running this company. That is the bottom line. They are using characters like this and think that they can get away with just having, oh, we got a trans Jedi, we got a girl Jedi, we got a black Jedi, we got this, we got that. There we go. We'll just shove it down your throats now. And if you don't like it, you're a fucking bigot. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that there's no story, that Light of the Jedi is one of the most dull books I've ever read. One of the most dull Star Wars books I've ever read. It's not poorly written. It's just a fucking boring story. Because the whole entire reason they created the High Republic was just like Data Racer pointed out. It was so they could have this. That is the reason that the High Republic was created in the first place. We talked about it then. People called us out. I can't believe you're getting upset over whiteboard. This is why we said it. Because we knew that this would be the result. The result would be poor storytelling with virtue signals, diversity, and representation, and these tokenized characters shoved down our throats. And that's exactly what we got. Star Wars is a joke. That's what it is. Star Wars is an absolute joke now. This is when they were revealed, where it's like, not he, they. Avar Chris has to correct someone on pronoun usage. This is Star Wars now. Star Wars is Disney Star Wars. And I know that might hurt for a lot of people. A lot of people still want to hold out hope that Star Wars can change, that someone in there, the Civil War, that someone's going to sweep in and fix everything, that it's just Kathleen Kennedy that's the problem. No. Disney is the problem. Disney is the problem with Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy is a major problem, to be sure. But Star Wars is gone. Star Wars is now a fucking joke. Star Wars is now Disney Star Wars. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Anyway. Like I said, this whole fucking High Republic shit is fucking done. This is
messed up.
I'm fucking done with Star Wars. I really am. Like, yes, I will continue to. I'll still continue to like it, but not if they keep doing it this way. For me, I'll continue to watch, like, mostly watch, like, the Dave Filoni stuff, because that's actually Star Wars.
It's what Star Wars is supposed to be.
Not this fucking shitty ass High Republic shit. Fuck that. It's, I don't know. You can tell in my voice, like, I'm fucking done with it. This has pissed me to the fucking breaking point.
They just need to focus on their Disney Plus content for Star Wars.
Anyway, whoever decided to even come up with this shit for that for that new book, fuck that, fuck piece of shit, fucking A, fucking ass. I'm so done. I really am. Look. Yeah. I'm so done. I'm so done. Not only that, but like Disney, since they're finally they're going to be putting out Indiana Jones 5. I'm probably not going to plan on seeing that because they're going to destroy that.
I need to see a trailer first before I make a decision.
I'm not gonna go see it, especially with this fucking Roke fucking piece of shit person. I ain't having it. I'm not having it. I didn't even know who she was until I watched the video like just yesterday.
She played that droid in Solo.
Solo, and that was the only person that was who. At the time, I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I'm just up until that video just yesterday, I was just like, "Really? That's who that was?" Ugh. I'm so fucking done.
Feel ya.
Anyway,
stretching your mind.
Yeah. trying to think right now what else. I'll just go ahead and say that for the next podcast, podcast episode 16, since we are officially on episode 15, for the next podcast, we will be doing, I will be trying to go ahead and try and be putting out 2 episodes a month. 2 episodes a month. So, episode 16 and 17 will be next month. And I'll probably just continue doing it that way. So in the next podcast episode, we'll talk about one of the best movies that's come out, and that is Zack Snyder's Justice League. The haters that thought that this shit wasn't real, that shit wasn't real, and I'm going to go ballistic on them.
Looking forward to that.
Let me see what else. Gosh, I don't know yet. I mean, just like how I went ballistic on this shit on today's episode. So, so I'll go ballistic on that next episode as well. Yeah, I don't know what else. I'm trying to think. But thoughts.
This was a good podcast episode.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, same. So, I guess this is the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening. My name is dcmarvelanime.
Fighter 22.
We will be talking to y'all in the next podcast when we, so talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.